XFL and the USFL are now merging. With this merger and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, this could actually bring some money. Maybe not next year if you do have the opportunity. Bend a little bit on your quote unquote criteria, knowing that the long-term story of that property is going to be success. Welcome to the Cash Flow Bro podcast.
Yeah.
We made some predictions and I got huge backlash of all the Swiftie fans that listen to us, you know.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the predictions about Travis
Oh, yeah.
Kelsey and Hurd breaking up this year.
That's a strong cohort. You don't want to mess with that.
You do not mess with that.
My mom reached out, though.
For real?
And she believes me. She's like, I agree.
I mean, I think there's
Well,
people inside know deep down.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I mean, you know, you look at the track record.
Yep.
Tracker, but
I don't know
also-
his track record, but
Yeah. I think there's also something to be said when like something starts so hot and so just so public and so anyway.
yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. My mom reached out and she's like, I agree with you, son. I was like, thanks for listening to the podcast, Mom.
That's another one. That's another one.
Listener. All right.
Yeah.
So we're talking offline. Tell us about your week, dude. It was insane.
All right. So last week we moved into a rental house, and right away, off the bat, there were a couple things that were not working. None of them were like a big deal, but when you've got a family the size of mine, we need everything working. And when it's not, it causes a lot of problems. The laundry machine ended up being broken. The HVAC in the kind of like garage apartment was not working. And a couple other things that we had to figure out. The garbage disposal had to be replaced. So...
And what he's not saying is his landlord is in this room.
Well,
and it's not me.
it's not the landlord's fault.
Hey, the landlord was over there the next morning.
I will say, yes, absolutely.
I'll tell you, and I forgot to wear my belt when I came over, and I definitely was like, I've got plumber's crack right now. This is perfect as I'm under this like thing. Meanwhile, Hazel came with me, and she's like trying to sit on my chest and oh, hey, look at me.
I'll give you 5 stars on Rate My Landlord.
Yes, thank God. That's what I need.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It wasn't your fault. It just happenstance of like when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it's just crazy because it's like I've never had any problems with the mini split. Never had any problems with that. Never had any problems with the disposal, but I go over there to fix the disposal, get it working, and then water's pouring out the bottom. And it's like, how does this happen at the same time?
Yeah. Now, your rental is like a nicer area, nicer rental, so I probably would keep that, like, you know, disposal, but that's like one of the things that you do not want.
I literally, when I went home to Cali, when I went home to Cali, I was like, Cali, the disposal's messed up. Oh my God. I said, that is why you don't have disposals, because people will chunk anything down there and think that it just disappears into the abyss.
They don't care. That's so funny. So, okay, so a bunch of stuff happened when you just moved into the rental. Yeah. A bunch of stuff happened, and then
then Friday we had tornado threats. Supposedly there was a big scare here about canceling school, which for us is a really big deal because we have 5 kids and the oldest is 7, so they're all home now unexpectedly, and the manpower that it takes to keep them all fed and happy is increased when they're all there. Obviously,
you were going to bring in the U.S. Coast Guard.
Yeah, calling the reserves. So that was Friday. Saturday was a good day. We went to 3 basketball games back to back. That was a good day. Sunday, we were in church. The service hadn't even started, and got a text from our nanny, who was driving our car, that she had hit a deer on the interstate. Man.
I didn't know it was on the interstate, so she was hauling.
Yes, interstate speed, hit a deer.
So, how's the deer?
The deer did not. He had a worse week than I did.
Yeah, he did. He's in the freezer right now.
Yeah. So we had just dropped all the kids in Sunday school, went right back, picked them up, got in the car, went to pick her up, got the car towed, and a couple $100 on the towing, and then the word's still out on the cost of fixing the deer damage to the car.
Yeah.
We'll see how that is. And then Monday was MLK Day, which, is a great holiday to celebrate.
Everybody wants some holidays.
Yeah.
Just not when they're surrounded by terrible weather
or kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was terrible weather, and again, that's another day that we're all in the house and we can't go outside, really, because it's freezing.
Yeah.
So all of us are trapped in the house, and then let's see, Tuesday. Also, I'm getting our old house ready to sell, so I'm trashing out all of our old stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to get it ready to paint during this whole process. And all the kids are home. Tuesday, school's canceled due to cold weather.
Yeah. It gets chilly here in the South. We just cancel the weather.
Yeah, literally. It's below 40, cancel it. Shut her down.
Yeah. It was like in my house. So it happened Tuesday and then again on Wednesday for most schools.
Yeah.
And when Amy got that text on Wednesday, she was like, no.
Yep, me too. It's not fun.
No, I think that was in most parents. They were like, oh, come on. So the kids had basically a 5-day vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. 5 days.
Yeah.
They were loving it.
So, no, 6.
Yeah, because we just went back yesterday for the first time.
Oh, no, it's 6 days.
Yeah.
Friday through, Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Amy were like, this is like a whole nother fall break. It's longer than our fall break.
Yeah.
They're just coming off a Christmas break.
Yeah.
We want all of our listeners to know, though, that we do love our children.
Yeah.
When they're in school.
Yes.
Yeah, and as entrepreneurs, like if they're at home, then when the backups are needed, that's usually us.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to get away too, and like unlike the 9 to 5, and nothing against 9 to 5 folks because they're very important, but like when school gets shut down, a lot of those places get shut down also.
Yeah.
And they might not be getting paid for it. So I mean that part sucks. But like we're expected to still get contracts together, go check out properties, I mean, maybe not check out properties,
fix garbage disposals.
Fix garbage disposals at 8 in the morning.
It doesn't
it's 20
stop.
degrees outside.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. And it's more difficult when you have family members that are yay high, it's about 3 feet high for anybody not watching us, but it's hard.
Yeah. I actually text Bart, because where we shoot this podcast, there's like potentially an office. And I was like thinking about the summer after this 6-day stint. And I was like, hey, you think you want to maybe rent it out? 'Cause I was like, I may need a place to park for the summer.
Yeah.
Because so then you said, so it doesn't stop there. You had another car issue.
So and then we had Amy's car that she drives. It fits our whole family, an Expedition Max, and we got it about a year ago, and had that looked at, and they said the transmission is starting to go out. It'll be $7,500 to replace it. You want us to start it? And I was like, no, we're not going to do that right now.
No. This car has already had hail damage. It's already had blowouts in Tuscaloosa.
This car's had a lot of problems already, a lot of problems. So
you just get the Sprinter van, man. Just go ahead and do it.
Doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, within this year, we'll probably get a Sprinter van.
Well, if Callie wants to keep having kids like she's talking about, then we might have to.
Oh, she's hooked.
I told her, I was like, if you want to keep having kids, we're going to have to get a minivan. And that's like her nightmare is having a
used to say
minivan.
that too. And we looked at it when we got this car. We looked at getting a minivan.
Yeah.
So I think she'll come around.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we just stop having kids.
Every time I open the doors, we have an SUV. The doors you open and you're trying to finagle a kid out, and I think about those minivan doors just
those are nice.
I'm like, golly, it probably would have been better.
We rented one. That is nice when it just hit the button and it just opens up. They file out.
Pull your kid out.
Yeah.
So anyway, but so one thing that I noticed, I thought about all of this drama, which I'm so sorry that you've had a rough
Well, there's more.
week. There's more
Still going.
No,
Yeah.
Okay,
God.
so continue.
Well, so Wednesday canceled again, kind of same deal. And then Thursday, Amy went to Tampa for just like one day, had a lot of meetings kind of back to back. And I talked to her this morning and she's like deathly sick, like very
In a different state.
in a different state by herself, still had 2 meetings this morning that she went to and just kind of toughed it out.
Right.
And so that's where we're at on this week. That kind of that brings us up to here on the challenges of this week.
I was, because that is a lot. I mean, when it rains, it pours, and usually it's like 2 or 3. That's like 8 hits.
Yeah.
What I thought about though, Rob, was like the resilience you've built up over the years of being an investor. Like, because I mean, when you have a certain amount of properties, it's almost at some point something is happening once every other week.
Yep.
Or at least a month.
Right.
And that took me a little while when I grew my portfolio to a number over more than 1. I was like, man, this is just really tough. I feel like every month I'm writing a big old check.
Yeah.
And I talked to you about it, and you're like, get used to it, because that's pretty much what happens then.
Yeah.
It's like, and they cover each other, and you end up having the amount of cash to fix those things. But like, it was almost pretty much once a month, if not every other month, where it was like, here goes $6,000 on some kind of issue.
Yep.
That wasn't unexpected once you start to have a certain amount of properties. So,
and it's crazy when people start to try and get into the investor world. They watch all these YouTube videos, like not us, because we're telling you how it is, but there's some out there.
I watch my own YouTube videos. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, me too, but we tell it how it is. And there's some of them that are like, yeah, just go buy a bunch of property and you'll never have problems and everything's good. And
this property cash flowing $1,000.
Yes.
This property cash flowing $1,000.
I'm retired. I'm in the Maldives hanging out. I've only got 14 properties and I don't have to worry about anything. And it's like, yikes, man. That's not how it is.
No.
But we know that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy just how many people think they can just hop into this game and it's just like easy, and it's just not.
It's a resilience game.
Yeah.
I actually had I don't think they will be a client, but I had someone call from overseas, reach out to me, and they're like, hey, we're looking to network with local agents, and their expectations on buying a property to flip was 30% gains. And I was like, unless you have some really super duper off market machine and you got like local crews that are super cheap, I was like, you're not hitting 30%.
No.
And I basically ran down all the reasons why. And that lady was like shocked. I was like, do you have other investments? Have you done this before? And she's like, no, I'm new. And I'm like, okay, let me give you the rundown. And I was like, you're probably going to get 10 to 15% if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And this is how you flip. This is how you find stuff if you want to find stuff off market, all that. And she was like, no one else has told me that.
She probably paid for a mastermind class too that told her,
yeah,
you can make 30+%.
She had called like 10 other realtors in town, and she's like, no one's telling me that. And I'm like, well, they also probably don't own investment properties and have never flipped a property.
They're just regular realtors. And I've noticed this too with a lot of realtors that I've dealt with lately, like the regular, the standard residential, A-class kind of properties. They're like, yeah, I got an investor call me, and they're like so excited now that these investors are reaching out that they've never done before.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of learning, and they don't have their own properties. They're excited about it because it's like repeat business in their minds, but they don't really have an idea of like what it takes to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
It's
good time.
It's pretty different.
It's completely different.
Yeah. I think over the years of doing this, you figure out exactly how different it has to be for it to work for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
All parties included.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I did want to mention an episode last week, I posted last week. I don't know when this one will post and all that, but anyway, sat down with a commercial lender from River Trust, Jack Hutchinson, and I think it's a fantastic episode for a lot of our listeners to listen to. It's a little bit on the longer side, but we break down local banking, commercial banking. Excuse me. And one thing that I thought was interesting, because I was like, most of the time when out-of-state investors are like, try to work with local banks, it gets shut down. And he gave a pathway to have a successful relationship with the local bank.
That's good.
And I think I'm not going to spill the beans.
Yeah, you got to go listen to it.
You got to listen to that episode, but there is a pathway, but it's not easy. It takes time and it takes effort on that out of state investor, but there's a way to do it.
That's good.
So all of this, like, we can't ever work with a local bank. It's all about, it comes down to relationships and deposit and all that.
You got to be willing to come down here.
Yeah.
And make those relationships. And a lot of times people aren't willing to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to do that, that's fine, but you need to have your financing squared away, not locally.
Yeah.
If you're going to take that route.
I think it's a great episode to listen to, especially for out of state investors looking to buy here.
I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
I'll go listen to it.
You'll be one of the
we put it on in anytime I'm taking Hazel to daycare, we put it on Cash Flow Bros, like driving there. First off, I'm trying to bump up our views, and listens,
which I appreciate.
But the thumbnail is the three of us standing there, and every morning when we put it on, she's like, "Oh, Dad, that's you."
That's cute.
Who that? And I'm like, "That's Rob and Todd." And then we'll start listening to it, and now she's listening to y'all enough that she can distinguish. Who's who just based off of the voice.
That's cute.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's
so,
awesome.
Is that Todd? Is that Rob? Yeah, it is.
My brother's my nephews have seen it a few times. They think I'm famous, because if it's on YouTube, to them, this kid generation, man, I mean,
famous.
I'm pretty much right up there with, what is the
Mr. Beast?
The Mr. Beast, or golly, what is it? The kids no, it's not Blippi. It's the guys that are really loud and do the challenges.
Oh, I thought that was Mr. Beast.
No, they do. I'll think of it anyway.
Behind.
They're pretty big, but they to me are like the Barney of this generation. Just super, just like in your face, and you're just like, be quiet. But they make a lot of.
They
money.
don't want that.
They make a lot of money on the YouTube. So I'm up there with. If you're on YouTube. You made it, man.
100 views, you're good, dude.
How old are they?
They're like 9 and 6.
Oh yeah,
so
prime time.
So they
dude.
don't know the difference.
Yeah, I do put it on for my kids.
What do they think? They just think
Same
there's Dad.
thing. Yeah, no, same thing. They're like, oh, you're on YouTube, like.
You're like, yes, kids.
Yes.
Now do what I say.
Do what I say, or.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it on tonight. Just while we're hanging out, I'm just gonna put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Smart
move.
move.
Watch it.
Right along with
Smart
the fire.
move.
Start their education early.
Yeah, they need to learn.
It's a good way.
They need to learn.
So you made a bunch of predictions, Rob, for which I thought there was a lot of insight in that, and I also appreciated that you brought the 2023 predictions and then kind of referenced them.
Oh yeah.
I did have a question. So, as you're kind of going through that, how much of it is instinct and how much of it is like data driven?
I would say it's a lot of. I'd say it's maybe half and half.
Really?
Or maybe it probably leans a little more towards instinct.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured for you it would be data.
No, I look at data and trends to a degree, but the data, I think getting a really good grip on reality right now, and then also just thinking about what's an example? So much has happened. I can't even remember.
You can't remember.
You don't even remember predictions.
What they were.
That's okay.
Give me what was one of them? Just an example of one
For 2023?
Or for
2024.
Well, besides Travis Kelce, because that's the ones that sticks in my mind.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The most. Something about rates. The rates were 66% chance, I think, that the rates were coming down in the next quarter, I believe.
Yeah. Well, that one is just that is data. There's Fed probability tracker tool.
But I think you even went further out in the year, and the data was 30% chance, but you still felt like it was going to happen.
Yeah. Let's see. I can pull these predictions up real quick.
Yeah, because I was just curious because, I think some of what we do, you hear about analysis paralysis. You hear about but you still need to underwrite.
Yeah.
You know if it's a good deal or not.
Yeah.
But then there's an instinct part of it that you have to take your intuition and your previous knowledge.
Yeah.
And your level of risk management and make decisions in this space. And so that's kind of why I was curious, is data can kind of be pushed and pulled.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To say what you want it to say ultimately.
No doubt.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I think I had stocks up, but less than 12%. And then existing home sales will top 5 million by year end on like a 12-month basis.
Mm-hmm.
And those are both a lot of just, I mean, the stocks one, I used to do that for a living. And so I, know a fair amount about patterns with stock prices and just historical data that's been lodged in my head for years on just how stocks tend to work, election years, and certain rate cycles. And when you have a huge up year, what tends to happen after that. So that kind of all informs that. Some of it's patterns that have, I guess you would maybe call it instinct, but it's stuff that patterns that I've noticed over time.
Right.
Existing home sales will top 5 million by year end. I think the justification was just that there's been so much, everyone talks about like the pinup demand. Like for the last 2 years, people have been wanting to make a move. All the people who wanted to make a move, which is 1 in 7 people in any given year, there's been a major disincentive to do that. And so that disincentive is starting to go away. And so I think there's a fair chance that we get a solid bump and have like a really strong year in terms of volume of sales. We had a really big drop last year. So I don't know if we'll hit, we got below 4 million on a 12-month trailing basis. So I don't know if we'll hit that 5 million. I do think we'll be way higher than this year, but that was my prediction. And then the Biden one, I think it's just, if you look at it,
that was the bombshell. That was literally the bombshell.
Yeah, I guess I didn't say it exactly what I meant. The reason I said it that way is because there's so many different things that could prevent him. Age is probably the primary one, and approval ratings. I mean, Trump's. I haven't watched the news at all in the last 2 weeks, but I think Trump is pretty far ahead in the polls. I don't know if I didn't say Trump was going to win. There's other people that may step in for Biden. I think age and deterioration and
it's not in his favor. That's for
sure. There's a lot of things not in his favor. So if you stack them up and you say these are the two running right now, the leading candidates for their parties, Trump and Biden, and to me, there's a lot of ways that it could not go Biden's way.
Yeah. We just want everybody to know it's more of election process. There's no assassinations.
That's the main one.
No, nothing like that's happening.
The way you said it was so funny.
He ain't gonna make it through this year. What do you mean? Like,
I guess
you got something we don't know.
I just didn't phrase it right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, that's like a 1 in a million. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other things that could.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting in the sense of, and this is more of a just general thought, is it's been a very unique season for people to be presidents.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that job.
I mean, not even just COVID. I feel like even before Trump, like there's just been a lot of really dissent and lots of different political dynamics and just very tough time, I think, to bring America together as a whole, and just tough natural things that have happened politically, like, the exit from Afghanistan. I was listening to a podcast about that and just kind of a different perspective of how complicated that was. I mean, it's just a lot of really, really tough things. So all that to say is I have a lot of empathy for anyone who puts themselves in that position.
You're not going to win when you get that position. It doesn't matter who you are.
At this point,
there's 50% of the country that hates you.
Yeah.
No matter which side you're
unfortunate
on. The only way you bring everybody together is something like 9/11 happening, where it's like everybody's like, I don't care who you are, somebody attacked us, let's get them, boys. You know what I mean? And hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think social media. Have you watched that documentary on Netflix? Have either of y'all watched it?
Yeah, it was like a year ago, 2 years ago, something. What was the name of it?
On social media?
It was about how bad it is, and it breaks down crazy data points.
It goes through a lot of different reasons
it was good.
Yeah, bad, but one of them is that it is literally designed to create extreme views.
Yeah.
Which
Well, because that's what gets clicks.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I mean, and even there's.
So if you're feeling to the left or to the right, they're going to show you more and more left stuff, and which is going to reinforce you to the left, which is going to reinforce more clicks on even more extreme stuff,
which makes them money.
Yeah.
Which keeps you on the platform and makes them money. But
I think in the documentary it said Cash Flow Bros is the only non-biased good
we are neutral.
Good watch.
Neutral.
Unbiased,
fair, neutral, wholesome content out there.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get more divisive, I guess, to get the clicks, if that's what it takes.
And I can honestly say, to me, most people that are in office, like most of them are pretty much the same. Like there's not really a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
They're all millionaires
at this point. Yeah. Well, yeah, and there's the way the whole system works is
it's a big ship turn.
Creates that. Yeah.
It's been being created for the past 50 years.
There's some people
the way
that
it is.
Go in and try to change things, and
they don't
last very long.
Nope, they don't make it.
So the people who are there are basically the same.
Yeah.
Redirecting the ship off the politics, which is super fun, but we got to get back on.
We do.
So I want to talk about some Birmingham news that I thought was real exciting, and it came in the form of I was watching one of the NFL games, the playoffs, and the XFL and the USFL are now merging.
Yeah,
to
I saw
be
that.
the
I saw that.
UFL, the United Football League.
Oh.
And I think it's more of a spring league. I think March is going to be start, and which means our Birmingham Stallions, who won last year, are playing the XFL champs, which I can't remember who they are.
I didn't even watch one.
They're going to lose.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cool because I was like, number one, I don't remember USFL ever being promoted on an NFL network, ever.
No.
So that was a big holy cow. So it means that somewhere in the mix, they have enough money either to buy that or the NFL is behind some support of the
I don't think that the NFL is behind it, because The Rock is the one who created the new league.
Oh, UFL?
Yeah, so he's the one that created that. And I think the USFL had contracts with Fox, and the new league has contracts with another TV network, I believe.
Okay, gotcha.
And so if you've got The Rock behind you, helping push that forward, he knows how to
market it,
make that happen. So I'm sure he went to these guys because they're not going to make it on their own.
No.
As soon as The Rock came out and said he was creating a league,
I
was like, so you're going to have two leagues die.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
Because they're competing in secondary markets.
So then
for all
he
of
just
them.
consumed.
So
both.
he just said, "Let me take all of it."
I mean, I think it's smart, and I think it's probably going to actually make it successful.
What makes it successful compared to previous leagues? Because there's been a lot of them that have popped up over the past 40 years. I think is the fact that they have contracts with TV.
Yes,
with media.
Right.
I think Fox or I don't know who the other
because people need to watch it, and so all that to say is I think we've seen some development happen in that north side of town, and to be honest, when the Stallions were there, I went to one game. It wasn't overpopulated and stuff, and I'm like, well, it started in the beginning, but I still didn't have a lot of hope with this merger and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, this could actually bring some money, maybe not next year. But eventually, this could actually become a pretty predominant thing for football here because there's so much people. There are so many people that are fans of the game.
Yeah,
and they want something to do in the spring.
Yeah. And I will tell you too. A lot of the reasons that the Birmingham Stallions had people coming here is that they're drafting players that are on Alabama
Yeah.
that didn't
Yes.
make it to the next.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
then
yeah.
you've got, I forgot who it was that they drafted, but people were like, I want to keep watching him.
Yeah, they
let
love
me
the
let me take
players.
my kids to go do that so that I can actually go down to the field and meet them.
Yeah.
You're not going to meet them when they're playing in Alabama because everybody's trying to meet
Yeah.
them. If they go to the NFL, you're still not going to meet them because everybody wants them. So how you do it? You just meet in the middle in the
Wait till they go to
springtime.
the Stallions.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it makes it. We've just had a lot of teams that have come and gone through here.
Yeah,
But I'm rooting for it.
I thought it was a positive win,
Definitely.
and I think it could really take off, which helps that, like I said, if you have healthy economics happening there, healthy events happening there, it just helps the development of that whole downtown area, and the houses around it.
Completely agree.
Now, do I say go out and buy a bunch of houses tomorrow? Probably not, but it definitely puts it a little more on my radar for the economic development in that area.
I agree. We're doing a good job in that area, I think, as a city,
Yeah,
trying to redevelop that. And I think they just started construction on the
Caraway?
the Star. What was it there?
Yeah,
they're
that's
calling the
old
development.
Caraway. Yeah, it is called the Star now.
They had knocked it down 6 months ago or something, and now they're actually got the plans and everything's starting to move forward.
Okay.
That's
that's
going to
huge.
be.
That is.
Have you seen the pictures for the development of what they're planning?
It's
pretty.
It's been a while.
Massive.
It
yeah.
looks awesome. Like the mixed use development and what they're trying to do is.
What is the end date for that? Do you know? I mean, it's probably going to be year two, right?
I think it's like 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't want to say because I actually just looked at the headline of the article. I'm not going to pretend like I am
not a
the
deep
problem.
dive
No,
into
I saw a cool
the
looking
article.
picture and I saw that it was coming and I was like, sweet,
Here we go.
yeah. Details, don't know.
Oh man, I also thought it was interesting. So you did a flip in Bessemer semi recently.
Yep.
And then we have a listing actually just right around the corner from that flip.
2 blocks over.
And it did really well. It got a lot of interest. Now the property's pretty trash. They priced it aggressively, and I think that's why it got traction as well. But it was a nice pocket.
Oh,
And
that neighborhood's great.
I think there's some areas in Bessemer that it's such a there's really really lows, but then you think all the lows is all of Bessemer. When really there's some really nice pockets that I think I'm going to start paying attention to.
There's right around the corner from that. There's a huge lake over there that's closer to your side than where my house was. But there's a lake, and there's a couple properties that have 5 or 6 acres each around this lake.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the lake, but that's a really great.
Those
Just
are
but you
pieces
got to
of land.
carve that neighborhood out because 10 blocks over this way is not somewhere you want to probably be.
Huge jumps.
Yeah.
But, and I was over in Fairfield the other day and I found another pocket. So,
a couple.
I think there's pride of ownership and lots of nice houses and well taken care of yards. So, some of these areas, to be honest, you kind of generalize them because of the maybe rougher spots or the spots that are, not as well kept. And it kind of makes me think I need to drive them and kind of find my pockets and maybe start to look for some gaps of if a property comes up for sale in this pocket of Fairfield,
This pocket in between 6th Street and 4th Street.
I need to buy it.
Yeah.
So anyway, just kind of a different perspective. So
It's going to be a good area.
I love that house we sold off of. It was in Midfield, but it was off of Bessemer Superhighway. It was right by the school. I can't remember. It was I guess the end of last year.
Okay.
But it was big flat lot, huge flat corner lot.
Yep.
It was a tri-level, but it was a pretty good sized house. Had a double garage, I think, back deck. And it was in Midfield, and I think we were selling. It was not in move-in ready shape. It needed some work, but that was kind of opened my eyes to that area. I hadn't been to that area before. And
They're out there. You just got to look.
Yeah.
And for someone who's driven, I wouldn't say insane amount, but I've driven a good amount of houses and good amount of these areas. I'm like, man, I gotta get out more. I gotta keep driving. I gotta keep looking, and I need to start trying to find these mini pockets of really nice areas. So another we talked about it with Megan Battle, South Titusville.
Yeah,
there's a lot of nice houses and a lot. That's close to downtown.
Yeah,
and so anyway,
and that's has always been, if you're listening to this from out of state wanting to learn about Birmingham, the number one advice that we always give anyone who is in that position is come and rent a car.
Yep.
And the best investment you can make is a tank of gas.
Yep, $79.99 for the rental and
Maybe
$50 for the
the car.
As many tanks of gas
you're
as you need to keep driving. Pick out some listings.
Yeah.
Even if you don't go in them, just go look at them, look around the neighborhood. Okay, go to this other area that you've been looking at on Google Maps. Look at the neighborhood.
Yeah.
See how people take care of the properties.
The neighbors.
See the condition of the neighbors' houses, so that when you do see one pop up, then there's kind of a map in your head already of, okay, this neighborhood I like people really take good care of their houses. They don't leave junk cars all over their yard, that kind of thing that you can only get from driving.
Yeah. And that's when it comes to listing or even buying, working with us is a leverage and a good help, because we take in those intangible things and we can say, hey, like this property is maybe 20K more, but that neighborhood's a lot better long term. Because a lot of times on these single families, we've said it for a long time, the exit strategy is almost just as important as the current cash flow and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so if you can have a better exit strategy, then you'll be more successful. And I've been doing a little bit of selling with properties for a bigger fund this year. They've decided to dispose some stuff, reposition because of maintenance and different things like that. And I was talking with the representatives from that, and they've kind of are finishing up their exit strategy on just a small portion of their portfolio. And they've fared very well, she said. And I thought that was really interesting because I know the stuff they bought, and they bought really well. They bought a lot of, I don't know if I've sold a single 3-1 for them.
All 3 twos?
I think they're all 3 2s.
That's good.
I think they're all over 1,500 square feet. And they all were in pretty good location. Not amazing locations, but more on that borderline of owner-occupant, could go owner-occupant pretty easily. And I would say the dispoing of them has been 80% to owner-occupants who want to put a little bit of sweat equity in it.
Yeah.
And they basically sold them at the max value
that they
could.
Yeah.
And they didn't even fix them up. They were selling them as is, but there's still that gap of they weren't selling them at wholesale prices.
Yeah.
And it's worked out really well for them. So when you have, every time I get on a call with them, I'm like, tell me more. Tell me why you're doing this, because they have so many more brains on their investments, making decisions. I'm like, tell me why you're making this decision, so I can do it for my small mini portfolio.
Yeah.
And it's been a huge learning lesson. They're just really, really smart, and it's been awesome to learn from them. So
Sweet.
Yeah, that's when I first started investing here in Birmingham. I did this kind of research into a hedge fund like that, and it's actually, that fund was bought by the one that we've been selling for. So I looked at their buy box. I downloaded everything they owned. I didn't ask them. I just downloaded everything, all the property tax records for what they owned, and I said, okay, it's almost everything. Like it was like 80-90% of this is 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
yeah,
And it's on my website somewhere, like robdrum.us, way back. I had made like an infographic of like what they were buying, and I didn't start out, a lot of what I bought personally didn't fit that, but I kind of moved towards that as I continued building the portfolio to be
and
looking for that type of property.
And you can find gaps, like to find value in stuff that maybe not exactly in that buy box because you're an individual investor. You can find that leverage, all those different things, but it's still, because they have a huge resource of money to just be like, 5K doesn't matter, let's just buy that property.
That helps,
10K doesn't matter, let's just buy that property. Long term, we know it's going to work. Buy it. Buy it. But it does help you give a frame of reference and to just be, realize that those properties, if you do have the opportunity, maybe bend a little bit on your quote unquote criteria,
Yeah.
knowing that the long-term story of that property is going to be success, because it is a more prime property than 3-1 that you had to bend a little bit, but you got a great deal on it.
Yeah.
So
in 5 years, doesn't matter.
yeah, it's still 3-1.
Yeah.
So not the end of the world, but you probably won't make as much as that 3-2.
No,
it's just
on
the
the
way it
exit,
is.
you won't. That's a fact.
Anyway, lots of learning lessons.
Yeah.
So, well, we eventually got to the real estate.
Yeah. Well, you got to take a long loop around sometimes, you know.
Oh man, it's good times. Well, we appreciate everybody who takes a listen to sometimes. Sometimes it's just nice to talk. Nice to talk about real estate, generally what comes up. And,
I agree.
Yeah.
And I love that you had a hard time this week, and you're just resilient. You're still kicking. You're still
Still here. He made
Things
it.
are looking up.
Yeah, he made
You
it.
got your coffee, and you're
Yes.
good to go.
This is the turning point right here.
Yep.
I feel it.
That's it.
That's awesome. All right, man.
Hey, appreciate
guys.
y'all. See y'all.
Bye.